All eyes were on Sonny Styles, and it turns out it was a pretty good show. Welcome back to BuckIQ. He's Zach Boren. I am Austin Ward. Zach, we spent last week saying, hey, here's the challenge. Jim Knowles had talked about it, so that probably carried more weight than us. But Sonny Styles, you'd been a little bit, the transition had been tough. You missed a few tackles, and maybe missed some assignments in coverage. You got to be better against Iowa. Silver bullet of the game. That seems to have answered that.
I thought Sonny Styles came out of his shell on Saturday. The way that he was able to play, you could tell there's been times where he seemed confused, especially playing in the box. And so much of Saturday, he was playing up on the line of scrimmage. He was directly firing. I mean, let's be honest, against an Iowa team that I would say is probably 80% run, you take a lot of the thinking out of it, but it was great to see Stunny actually react to what he was seeing, trigger quickly, get in the backfield and make some big time tackles.
Yeah, we've mentioned plenty before that moving from safety to linebacker, that was not going to be easy. Most players are going to take some time. Sonny needed a little bit as well. He's been in this spot for 9 months, but it's not just, I think, that he's playing a new spot, Zach. It's that he's been playing multiple spots. Ohio State's asked him to play Mike, Will, and Sam in the first 5 games of his career at linebacker. As you said, Saturday they sort of simplified and streamlined what he was asked to do, and I don't think that should come as a surprise either that he performed really well when he didn't have a bunch of other things to worry about.
I could not agree with you more. You hit the nail on the head with when you simplify things for Sonny and let him play, he is as gifted as there is. I mean, the athletic specimen that he is, his athletic ability, the way that he's able to run sideline to sideline, the way he's able to trigger and get downhill. The sky's the limit for him. And you and I have talked about this on the show so many times is you have to kind of stop moving him around and putting him in positions where he's playing the Will, he's playing the Mike, he's playing the Sam, because when he gets in those positions, he's starting to think more instead of reacting more. And I think that's what, if there was one thing to take away, especially from the Ohio State coaching staff after watching Sonny perform on Saturday, it's let's simplify things. Let's put him in one position and let him succeed there. But to your point, transition to safety to linebacker is tough. But I think a lot of people think it's tough because it's a completely new position. That's somewhat false because you look at Lathan Ransom, you look at Caleb Downs, they play in the box a lot, right? Is that you still have to be able to read and react when you are seeing everything unfold in front of you. That's not the hard part. The hard part is now when you're safety, you're normally the unaccounted guy in the box, or you have the slot receiver who's trying to come inside and get up to you and block you. Whereas when you are playing in the box as a linebacker, now you're taking on offensive guards, offensive tackles who are climbing up to the second level. And that's where I think Sonny needs the most. I don't want to call it growth, but that's where you need more reps because taking on a 330-pound offensive guard or a 6'6", 330-pound offensive tackle and being able to shuck and shed with your
Mhm.
hands and still be able to make a tackle, that's a big difference in safety. So, I don't want people to get confused of responsibility wise. It's not so much responsibility wise, it's more so what are you having to do play in and play out being inside the box.
So, what do you think? Let's look ahead before we look back at what happened against Oregon. What do you think Jim Knowles and James Laurinaitis will take out of that performance to try and get ready for an Oregon offense that's going to be able to do a lot more things creatively and athletically than Iowa?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. The one great thing is from Sonny Styles standpoint, you have a linebacker who can run with basically anyone in the country, right? He can match up with a slot, he can match up with a tight end. I think the hard part from Ohio State standpoint is Oregon gets the ball out very quickly. They like to move the pocket. You have to, I don't want to call it guessing, but you have to guess right. If you bring a pressure from a side of the field, you have to make sure that guess what? That's the way they're rolling. If they're rolling away from your pressure, essentially, man, you're out of luck. You
Yeah.
have an open field, you have guys who are playing man to man on that side of the field, you kind of lose some contain. The best thing you can do if you are this Ohio State team is first and foremost, you have to be able to stop the run on first down. You have to get them in second and third and long situations. You have to. Outside of that, guess what? You look at your back five and it's BIA for a reason, right? You have to trust those guys this week more than you probably ever had of being able to press these receivers and make them work to get off the line of scrimmage. With the quick passing game, if you are playing off, guess what? It's going to be a long day because those little 4, 5, 6 yard hitters, guess what? Now make it 2nd and 4, and it's really challenging, you know.
Mhm.
And so you have to be able to press those guys all day long because who knows if you're going to get the pressure from the D line with the way Oregon operates. And then the other thing is, you know, the great thing is you have Cody Simon, you have Sonny Styles, you have Arvell Reese that can all run. Dylan Gabriel presents a threat. It's the same thing with Will Howard, right? He's very good at extending plays, at getting those chunk plays with his legs. And I know Ryan Day has talked about it, that is a weapon that is very hard for defenses to account for. You have to be able to keep your eyes on Dylan Gabriel. He's going to try and extend plays. Those are the killers. When you're in 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7, and the quarterback steps up and and runs for a first down, it's confidence killers, right? And those extend drives. So as Ohio State, you have to have that in the back of your mind as well. But like I said, we're talking about Sonny Styles. I honestly believe like Sonny Styles is that X factor kind of guy because you're going against an Oregon team that is very athletic. Like that you want guys to be able to match up. It's a matchup game. You know,
Mhm.
people talk about that all the time. Iowa, we talked about last week. Iowa's not a matchup game for Ohio State because I think schematically that is the hardest that's the hardest personnel for Ohio State to go up against, right? Big 12, 13 personnel, and they just want to pound the football. You're going to have an Oregon team who, guess what, wants to go athlete to athlete for you and say, hey, listen, let's play best on best. Let's get you in space. Let's do what we do best. And Ohio State needs to accept that challenge. But the great thing is they've got the athletes to do it.
Sonny Styles is one of them, and he was in that spotlight, as we mentioned, against Iowa and absolutely delivered with one of his best performances. Well, his best performance at linebacker for sure, and maybe the best performance of his Ohio State career. Let's see how he did it and roll the tape. All right, Zach. I think some of the challenge for me in breaking these down, which again is because I'm not a college football player or a coach, is that they're over before they begin. Ohio State against Iowa, like these plays are in the box. They're running straight ahead, and it's over pretty quickly. But a lot is going on. What is it?
For sure. What I love here is we're going to see a couple different plays with the way Sonny was utilized on Saturday. Here, you obviously see him following the fullback back into the backfield, right? It's some kind of man because guess what? You have Caleb Downs coming downhill. This is what I love in that maybe Sonny struggled with a little bit last year and early on is that guess what? Sonny now has an understanding of the defense. If you run that back, Caleb Downs right here, I hate to say it. I used to do this for Ryan Shazier all the time. You're kind of the sacrificial goat. Just like take someone on, take him out of the play, right? So guess what? You have Caleb Downs right here taking on the offense tackle, and he takes his outside shoulder, which is absolutely perfect. What this does is, yes, he's out of the play. But now, guess what? He has leverage on the outside, which forces the running back. Guess what? I'm taking it straight downhill. What's it do? Creates a gap for Sonny to fold underneath. And so Sonny sees this. He sees the open space. He triggers what, maybe would James Laurinaitis like to see him trigger a little bit faster, knowing like, hey, this is coming straight downhill. Use my leverage. You know what's going on. Yes. But guess what? He still makes contact at the line of scrimmage and gets him down for a play. And what I love is now it's like Sonny understands this. So many times earlier in the year, he may have been a step to the outside, even though Caleb was taking on that blitz. Now he's like, okay, safety's coming. I'm going to fold in underneath. I get to make the play.
Yeah, and I think the other thing that Jim Knowles had talked about last week, Zach, and we mentioned it on weekend kickoff, the knockback blocks or knockback tackles, like doesn't necessarily force Caleb Johnson backwards, but he doesn't let him drive for extra yards. It's 2 yards and you're done.
Correct. Correct. And that's something that, again, playing inside the box is a little bit different for Sonny. But guess what? You you got to put on a little extra weight and get those guys knowing that they got a full steam ahead coming right down at you.
Yeah, similar situation here for Ohio State. It's 1st and 10, you know, on the +40 for Iowa. You know what they're going to do, and you have to get them in a second and long situation. The Buckeyes did just that.
Yeah, and this is almost the same exact play, except Lathan Ransom is now triggering and not Caleb Downs, right? So guess what? Now you got Sonny on the opposite side, though, playing up top. But what I love is guess what? Motion to me. I'm going to come down a little bit and say, here we go. I'm starting to recognize what they're running at me. Guess what? He's got the lead blocker. Take it on. What I love right there is he takes it on with his inside shoulder, meaning guess what? I've got my outside shoulder free. I'm keeping leverage, and I'm going to drive this guy back. That creates a little bit of a cone around. And then guess what? Caleb Johnson has nowhere to go. You also got the big uglies up front, man, doing their job. We already talked about Tyleik Williams and what he brings to this defense. But my God, there is nowhere to run right here. But Sonny does a great job. If Sonny is weak with his inside shoulder, or if he is able to get pinned on the inside and not keep leverage, Caleb Johnson's going to hit this right outside of Sonny. Instead, Sonny does a great job. You're going to be able to see it better here. You see Sonny creeping down right here, and he's going to take it on with his right shoulder. Now, when we're looking at him, it's really his left, our right here. And watch this. He's going to take it on right there, keeps his outside shoulder free, and see, pause it right there. Like, that is perfect because what's it forced Caleb Johnson to do? Come back to the inside, which guess what? Where are you going to go right there? If Sonny doesn't take that block on correctly and gets peeled, you can see the gap that Caleb Johnson is going for if Sonny's not right there and keeping his leverage. So this is taken on perfectly. Yes, people understand maybe he gives himself up, but guess what? He keeps his outside shoulder free. He pushes back, keeps resistance, and guess what? There's nowhere for him or for Caleb Johnson to go.
I mean, I'm count. What do we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 silver bullets, all within 3 yards of Caleb Johnson. That's
This is how you play. This is how you play defense against the run, especially in Iowa zone. I mean, look at that. They're looking for a crease. It's always looking for
he's
nothing.
not. I don't see there any options there, Zach. That is about as dominant as you can play, and that forces second and long. Ohio State gets off the field. Here we go. Later on, this was a key
It,
drive in that middle eight, Leighton and
this is
Sonny
my
Styles sets the
favorite.
tone. All
This
right,
is my favorite. These next two plays, this is where I love Sonny Styles. Absolutely love Sonny in this position. Here, guess what? He's playing heads up on the tight end. He's not the outside guy. He's playing inside shade right there. Guess what? He triggers, sees the run, bam, and he comes inside. There's no way for that tight end to block him at all because Sonny is so quick and so athletically gifted that we've already touched on. There's no stopping him. And look at that. TFL, perfect. I mean,
pretty
I
big.
love Sonny playing on the line of scrimmage because he does not have to think. He can trigger. He can go. He is so long. It's a matchup nightmare for any tackle or even tight end to be able to block Sonny on the line of scrimmage, especially when Sonny's on some kind of stunt like this where he's coming to the inside.
So we don't know for sure, Zach, but you've got a pretty educated guess. I mean, does he have any other responsibility other than just attacking this gap?
No, because look at this. He's got a guy to his outside, right? That's Kenyatta Jackson on top of him. He has no responsibility right here besides to fire and put pressure. Kenyatta's got his outside, got the contain. Sonny's like, hey, listen, you're going to match up on that tight end looking like you're playing man, but at the snap of the ball, guess what? You're firing inside and you're going. But what I love is guess what? He recognizes this as he's blitzing and sees the handoff and makes the play. Like so many times, guys blitz without knowing where the ball is. Part of blitzing is having an understanding of what's happening and making the play.
Man, he gets there in such a hurry. It's wild to see when he's in those situations, Zach, because he can
It
just straight get after it.
and this is look at this again. Playing on last, watch how fast he plays. Like this is unbelievable how quickly he's triggering and how quickly he gets back in the backfield. I mean, the ball was just handed off and he's 3 yards deep. I mean, this is why I love Sonny in this position and we laugh about it, but it's like here he can just fire. He goes. He does not have to think about what's going on, right? Like you can see him. Guess what? Looks like he's playing some man. We trigger. There's no way this tight end's going to block him because of how fast he is. And look at this. He makes a play
Try
back there. I mean,
tried to hold him.
yeah, he tried to hold him right. But if I'm the Ohio State coaches, if I'm looking at this, I'm like, how do you not put Sonny on the edge and just let him go?
Now this is a little knockback block, a knockback tackle. I don't know why I can't get it right. I'm thinking about blocks all morning, I guess, instead.
Yeah,
But like
yeah. listen, he's a little high right here, but he's making contact 4 yards deep in the backfield. So I'm not going to complain all that much about it, But guess what? He triggered fast. He made a play, a second TFL right here, and it's huge. That was 1st and 10. Ohio State just went up 21 points. If you see it again, I mean, he just plays so fast.
Yeah, I joked about how quick these plays were. Well, it's because Sonny Styles was getting them over in a hurry. Ohio State, another dominant defensive outing for the Silver Bullets. They've got to do it again Saturday night against Oregon. It's the one we've all been waiting for. We've been juiced up since Zach and I were talking on Monday. We're almost there. Thanks for joining us for a little Buck IQ action. He's Zach Boren. I'm Austin Ward. This has been the podcast. We'll talk to you later. Enjoy Ohio State and Oregon.